Hello and welcome to another episode of What's Inside. Today we're looking at something a little different. We're looking at the Dungeon Master screen for the 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons. Now Dungeons & Dragons has been around for decades now, and the 5th edition is still fairly new as I'm filming this in the beginning of 2017. And I just got this to see what it was like, because it is sealed in cellophane, and it runs for anywhere between 10 and about 15 bucks online. The original retail price is $14.95. You can find it cheaper than that, but I've heard mixed reviews on this, and I wanted to see what it looked like for myself. You can't always trust reviewers, but it's nice to actually see it with your eyes and see what's inside. So let's go ahead and open this up and see what we've got here. Wizards of the Coast is doing a pretty good job with the 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons from everything I've been hearing. And so far, the products are pretty decent quality. Let's see how they do with the Dungeon Master screen. Alright, so we've got an outer sheet here that serves as a little poster. We want you at your nearest game store. Okay, I don't know if I'd hang that up, but it's kind of a creepy looking dude on it. That's from the Dungeon Master's Guide cover. And that's just the outer. Okay, it's pretty nice quality actually. If you wanted to hang that up, you probably could. It's pretty thick. It's just got the crease on it. So let's move that out of the way. Alright, it's a side screen. Okay. Ooh, that's really nice and glossy. Let's look at the other side quick. So that's what the players are going to be looking at. Now let's open it up here. Alright, we got some charts. And then we've got some random stuff here. And we got some more charts. Alright, so let's look at this. Alright. This is actually pretty useful. We've got cover information, obscured areas. There's no modifiers on that though. Why isn't there modifiers? Setting a difficulty rating. Yeah, that should be common sense. Very easy. 5. No duh. I don't know why that's on there. Damage by level of severity, level 1 through 4, setback, dangerous, deadly. Why is it? This is not useful information. Quick finds, okay, that's a little useful, but again, that's a chart the DM probably shouldn't need. If you have to really look at like, oh, what'd they find when they looked, then how well did you write your adventure? Encounter distance, you could kind of wing that. Something happens, a door opens, a fire starts. Yeah, you should be able to wing that too. So I would venture to say about half of this is, I'd say 80% worthless. If you're a new DM, some of this might be useful to you. But otherwise I'm not seeing anything here that I would find particularly useful. Like weapons charts would have been nice. Critical hit locations, skills and associated abilities, that might be kind of useful, okay, because there are some changes from 4th and even 3rd. So okay, they seem to have taken some of the better parts of 2nd, 3rd, and 4th edition and kind of thrown them together 5th. So okay, some of this might be a little useful, but if you have to explain the definition of prone to someone, maybe they're not mature enough to be playing Dungeons & Dragons. Conditions, invisibility. An invisible creature is impossible to see without the aid of magic. That would be the very definition of invisible. I don't need a dictionary definition. I'm not special. I'm normal. Alright, what do we got over here? We got Npc Flaws? Why is that on here? That's something that should be in the DMG. NPC bonds. why is that on here? This is like planning information. All this should have been established by now. All this should be already. If you have NPCs, you should have them written up already. I mean, how often do you have to have some stock generic NPCs ready to go in case they decide, oh, we're gonna go see a sage for some random misguided reason? You should have a generic one in a binder somewhere or a notebook. Why do you have to do that on the fly here? NPC ideals? None of this is useful. Where's like the poisoning chart? Where's like the saving throws or how to attack? You know, and attack modifiers would have been handy. None of that's in here. I see flaws, a name generator. What? That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Why is that on here? Why is there like NPC creation information on here? None of this is useful during a game unless you are completely ill-prepared and winging it. Alright, that's a giant waste. You could just cut that whole panel out. What I would do is probably type up all the useful things and charts I would need and glue them over this, because this entire section right here with these Dragonkin guys is useless. I think so anyway. I haven't played D&D in a couple of editions, but that's useless to me. I do not care about that whatsoever. Some of this information probably could be useful to a new person, but it could have been condensed without all the flavor text images and the obvious flavor text, and condensed down into one chart less than this size. So less than half of this is actually useful, because you have all this wasted space here. All these images could have been cut out and the chart condensed. I did not buy this for art. I bought it for functionality. Wizards of the Coast, if any of you are watching this, this is the biggest waste of 10 bucks. 15, correction. I would never have paid 15 bucks for this if I knew it was this worthless. I didn't. I paid 8 bucks for it, I think. Paid less than 10 on Amazon. And I still feel ripped off. This, I agree with the guy that said this was a complete waste of money and find a better GM screen. The cardstock is really thick. It is very sturdy. That's its only saving grace, because almost nothing on here is at all useful to anyone that's played for more than 3 or 4 sessions. Obscured area, okay, that might have been useful. Why are there no modifiers there? Why doesn't it tell me, you know, what are the difficulty effects? This one has that. Cover +2 bonus. Alright, that's actually useful. That chart is the most useful thing. This little corner here, the most useful thing in the whole thing. None of these little images need to be here. If I'm running a game, I should be focusing on that, not on the really kind of mediocre art that's on here. The big picture is pretty cool, and this picture's cool, but I'd rather have more charts on here than a stupid art piece. Stop commissioning art, start cutting and pasting on useful things. There's a poison chart, there's, I don't see any saving throw charts. There's no skill modifiers. This chart's pretty useful, the skill and associated abilities. Okay, I might need to look that up at some point, but that's really it. There's, okay, a couple little things. This might be useful. Lighting. There's nothing about modifiers there, though. Maybe a weapons chart. Say what different weapons do for damage. That would have been handy. The old 2.0 screen that was like 6 panels was great. Even the original 2nd edition one that came with the module Terrible Trouble at Tragedor was vastly more useful than this, and that thing was made like garbage. And it was 1,000 times more useful. This, in my opinion, is a giant waste of money. It's really nicely put together, but the information inside is useless. It'll stand up, it's thick enough to sit up on its own. And it is wide enough, it's the right width, it's the right size, the size is perfect. The height is really good. Got no issue with that. It's big enough to hide your dice rolls and probably your maps and stuff like that. The art on the front is great. I like the dragon with the guys. Cool. Yeah, fine with me. Looks good. Interior information for DMs, useless. That is the most useless interior design I've ever seen on any DM screen. I'm pretty sure a 10-year-old could have thrown a better one together with more useful information. And I hate to say that too, because I really like what I've seen from the 5th edition. I'm going to open a starter box on one of these episodes, and I hope it's better than this, because this, if I had paid $15 for this, I'd be furious. It's sturdy, but I don't want to have to make modifications to the things I buy. It should have come with much more useful information, useful charts that would help me when I'm trying to look up something important. Like I said, poisoning is the big one. There's nothing about poison on here, nothing about curing diseases, spell modifiers, anything like that. No saving throw information. I don't need to know NPC flaws or their stupid name. Their name is Phil right now. Okay, you're gonna go see a mage? You're completely on the wrong track. His name is Bobby. Bobby the mage. And Stefan the sage. And his buddy Larry the bartender. Because that stuff is not important to the main game. NPC ideals, I have never needed that information, I don't think. If you didn't plan it out in advance, that's your fault. This is not something that's useful except to people that are new to the game and don't know how to create characters. This should all be in the Dungeon Master's Guide. That's what it's for, to guide Dungeon Masters. That's not what the screen is for. The screen is for quick reference of information. At least that's what it's supposed to be for, is my understanding. This information is completely useless. Alright, I'm going to finish ranting. The back of the book says, or the insert thing here says, this durable 4-panel Dungeon Master screen, lavishly adorned with illustrations inside and out, I don't need them inside, will enchant and inspire players and Dungeon Masters alike. Not really. The screen's landscape orientation allows the Dungeon Master to easily see beyond the screen and reach over it. True. Even as it keeps dice rolls and notes hidden from players. Tables on the inside provide essential support for the 3 pillars of play: combat, exploration, and social interaction. I don't believe that at all. I would totally disagree with that. To Dungeon Masters of all skill levels, complete garbage. If you're an advanced level Dungeon Master where you've been doing this for 20 years, you don't need 99% of the information presented in there. That's a complete fabrication, in my opinion. I think that's misleading, and it's poor advertising, and it's designed to trick you into buying an inferior product. The quality is great of the actual screen. I will give them that. It is very good quality, very good thick board, but the information presented inside is almost entirely useless, and it's cluttered up with art that doesn't need to be in there. You can have the background image or whatever, that's cool, I don't care. But the art on the sides here is just a takeaway from the fact that the information presented is useless. At least that's my opinion. I don't think this is worth $15, and honestly, I would buy one of the off-brand ones instead if I were you. If you're looking to play 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, there are other screens out there put out by third parties that I think are probably going to serve you better. Unless you can find a blank, generic screen, that would probably be the best use of your money. This is just not something I would recommend, so I don't know why this turned into a product review, but that's what's inside the 5th edition Dungeon Master screen. Thanks for watching. I'll try and control my rage next time. And we'll catch you on the next episode of What's Inside.